Well, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this evening. Yes, it is evening. Today is Sunday, April 19th, Sunday, April 19th. And no, it is not a joke. It is 100% serious. Um, there were things that I needed to do. I was doing them, but the Most High said, "Nah, you need to get on." As I'm looking at my checklist that I need to do for school, I said, "Okay, thank you, Father." I was a little bit ahead of the curve or the curve on that one. But this was a culmination of different things that was going on. And the reality, we were talking about this and joking about this. Um, we were saying weekend warrior. At least that's what I was saying. Weekend warrior. All the stuff to, get things during the week in terms of your diplomatic, type of scenarios and things of that nature to make the markets cooled off and then to have them climb back up. Here's the reality: the markets have been climbing. There is no cooling off. We discussed that even on Q2A discussions. Oil is up in a lot of these countries. A lot of these countries do not like what the U.S. is doing. There is an issue with this, especially if you're countries that are, and I would say Asian countries, being that heavily affected by these swings, especially in oil. Back on Thursday when I was talking to you here in the Covenant Awakenings, um, you have now an issue with a couple of different things going on when it comes to energy prices, energy markets, and we're going to get into to all of that. But I just dropped this link here. This is from NBC News. Trump says U.S. seized Iranian ship as tensions rise amid ceasefire. So there's no ceasefire. There really hadn't been a ceasefire. Um, as I had stated it, Trump is trying to declare a ceasefire. Iran has already said, "Look, get your oil." The only one that's holding your oil for hostage is not us; it's the U.S. And then the U.S. was doing some double dealing, which it always does, and they shut Iran. They shut the Strait of Hormuz down. Look, understand the lying tactics. You have to go and enter into a deal with good faith, and the U.S. has not done that. See, all of this stuff, and this is the causality that has the effect. So when we talk about white supremacy, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. White supremacy can kill a nation, but nobody wanted to listen. And instead of listening, It was easier to just throw a label on out there so people could say, well, you're racist. You all are racist. You all are this. You all are that. And it's like, no, we're just telling you how vanity works. And guess what? This wickedness is going to provide for more wicked. And now here it is. They haven't truly seen the markets catch up because the futures haven't caught up. The futures are actually getting ready to catch up in about another 3 to 4 weeks. That's what they have. They have until about mid-May. That's when the futures are going to catch up. That's when that 75-day period will actually hit. And before that goes, I believe the intent is to be in a full-fledged war that would then create really more chaos. Let me go back into this article here. This is from a Freddie Clayton. This was as of this morning, and then it was updated at 4:04 p.m. So this is NBC News again from April 19th. President Donald Trump said Sunday that U.S. forces had seized an Iranian-flagged cargo ship that allegedly attempted to breach a U.S. naval blockade. There it is. In a post on Truth Social, Trump said the nearly 900-foot cargo vessel, Tosca, was intercepted by the Navy destroyer USS Spruance in the Gulf of Oman after ignoring warnings to stop. He said the ship was disabled and boarded, and that the U.S. Marines now have custody of the vessel. Iran has not publicly commented on the reported seizure. The incident underscores how fragile the ceasefire remains, with both sides accusing the other of violations and at odds on when to resume peace talks. The 2-week ceasefire is set to expire Wednesday. So understand the peace talk was also in name only. That is a breach of the peace talks. Look, and the reality is Iran's not playing with them. So all of this stuff that's cute for the base here in the U.S. or the debased ones here in the U.S., thinking that, oh, well, they can just flex their white supremacy like it doesn't cost them anything anymore, or it costs now. It has always cost, but now the boiling point of it is now they're messing with people's money and literally their emotions. And I'm going to tell you plain and simple, what will end up happening is in less than 90 days, when the World Cup starts, people are going to boycott that. And yes, this is modern day piracy. I don't care if they sail it on over into, well, where are they going to sail it to? That's going to be the question. Where are they going to sell that to? Because what will end up happening is quite simply, you would then have the Red Sea being closed. On top of that, I don't think you're going to want to have I don't think any other country would want to have that. I guarantee you, you wouldn't have that from more than likely Kenya nor Tanzania. Those are the most, I would say, your more Arabic, excuse me, not Arab, American friendly countries, Western friendly countries, especially Kenya. But that's too much of a hot ticket item. Like, they're not trying to be caught up with stolen goods. So the reality is going to be this: whatever they seized in that ship, whatever oil they seized in that ship, what they're going to do is they're going to bring in their non-standard, unconventional maritime frigates. Yes, the U.S. has maritime vessels, and what they will more than likely do, they'll probably offload. They'll do a ship to ship transfer. That's what they're called. If it's has crude, they'll bring in a couple of different vessels, and then they would obviously engage in piracy. And what they would then do is that contracted maritime service, they would then be more than likely, probably some other countries, a third country, that will then steal the crude oil. That's just my rationale on that one because I can't see it going any other way. Once they steal the crude, then they'll have or crude or whatever is going to be um, on the ship. Then they will say that the ship was successfully interdicted and that justice was served, and they'll use whatever moral monikers that they'll come up with, because obviously the embarrassment of using the phraseology or scriptural, non-scriptural, fictional references via Pulp Fiction definitely now will have people reading the Bible and trying to figure on out what the heck is going on. Pastor Rick Fletcher says, Karis, I've heard some speculation that Trump is trying to crash the global while greatly enriching himself and his friends' economy in order to achieve the greatest economic reset. Yes, that is the reset, to make everybody slaves, including countries. See, he that leadeth into captivity shall do what? Shall go into captivity. The problem is that the calculus isn't the way that people think it is. Now, what has been hinted at and speculated on was that Iran had refused to fulfill requests to China. I saw that an article being purported today from the Times of India. And what caught my eye on that was this. If that was true, that Iran was not going to fulfill obligations to China, I was thinking, okay, well, it's probably because there's some calculus to it. Well, Iran wants to get China involved, and that's the best way to get China involved and things of that nature. Or they may not be able to because of this blockade, and they cannot um, safely fulfill their orders to China. Now, here is something that is coming. You're now messing with, more than likely, China's goods. And here it is, because one of the main components of this is that Iran basically said they're not sending any type of negotiators to Pakistan. Now, if this was the fact of they're going to then start piracy operations, that's really what it is. Don't get it twisted. If they're going to start piracy operations because Iran's not going to come to the table, then that is going to wildly backfire. Let's just say if the UN Security Council has an emergency meeting, because now a lot of people's positions are at stake. You have a lot of European positions at stake. A lot of Asian, East Asian positions that are at stake in an already oil-starved market. Trump said that Iran had targeted vessels from France and the United Kingdom. French company CMA CGM said Sunday. Here it is. It says Iran's semi-official Tasman news agency reported two more tankers sailing under the flags of Botswana and Angola were forced to turn back by Iran's forces on Sunday. This is obviously an American or a Western media outlet, so they're not going to give you um, any details about the ship, where the ship was flagged, who had it. So I would say right now that the situation in the Gulf is continuing to unfold. I think that's the best way to say it, because um, we will not get any information from the West. So let's continue to move ahead. Let me put this here. No more Mr. Nice Guy. This is from The Sun. Trump says U.S. will knock out every power plant and bridge in Iran to end regime's killing machine if deal is not made. Well, all of this provocative talk, and nobody talks about that Eastern Mediterranean nations um, killing machine. But now this hypocrisy is coming to light, because the ability to have a a moral high ground per se is not there, and that now creates more of an issue, because to try to then manufacture that moral high ground, he tried to say that he was a biblical doctor that looked very much and implicated very much a Christ-like figure. And people don't know how dictatorships and fascism is born. It doesn't get born overnight. It becomes a way that you have to be consistently primed to move through that, to undergo it. The more that you get exposed to it, the more that you then become brainwashed to it. Brainwashing is just an exposure over time. Exposing to the lie. Hey, guess what? The sky is really purple. The sky is really purple. well, the sky is really purple. Well, I was told the sky is purple. What is the blue? It's never really been blue. It's been purple. Gee, do you think that a couple generations saying that, and guess what? They're going to say that the sky is purple. Do you all now see the generational trauma, the multi generational trauma that we have endured? Because why? Because we've been going through these particular parallels of the crazy that nobody wanted to address. And when we would say that, we were being called the crazy people, the ones that would look at race and everything was racial, right? Why? Because I was an easy straw man that they could have a cop out. So they never addressed the underlying issues that has brought them to today. And today is they now have a dictatorship that is living on piracy, that is living on doing the weekend warrior stuff the most, because they're still trying to ensure that they're making as much money as they can before when? Before this system totally crumbles. The crumble comes before the collapse. This system is just crumbling. It's crumbling because there's no liquidity. There's no liquidity because people are hoarding their monies and their funds. They're hoarding their monies and their funds because honestly, they're scared. They're scared because there's no stability. And with the lack of stability, guess what's also in the cards? The loss of their job, the loss of their livelihood, which is really an actual situation that may unfold. What people fail to realize is that the U.S. is and has been for the last almost 80 years since the Bretton Woods Agreement a highly globalized, interconnected system. They run the global world order. They run the world order. They have been the new world order since the 1940s. They just didn't want to be called the new world order because they understood it had a lot of significant spiritual implications. But now that they understand that this world order is dying, now they want to say, no, the new world order, the this and that. Of course. So Donald Trump warned no more Mr. Nice Guy as he vowed to wipe out Iran's power plants if they fail to cut a peace deal by Wednesday. The U.S. president blasted the rogue state for gunboat attacks on British and French vessels attempting to navigate the paralyzed Strait of Hormuz oil route. And I think so. So they say. So this was saying that they're getting ready to board, and I think this is still too close because we're still trying to figure on out what is going on, what has gone on. As the oil tanker is now moving in full motion. Let's see here. This is coming from The Guardian. Yeah, this story is, so please forgive me because this story is still developing. I just want to show you, what it is that we're seeing here in real time, near real time. So, Middle East crisis live. Iran accuses U.S. of ceasefire breach and vows to retaliate over seizures of ship. So the ship has been seized. This is now Iran actually stating it. And Trump says U.S. Navy fired or ship fired on vessel that tried to get past blockade. Iran has pledged to keep the Strait of Hormuz blocked until or closed until blockade is lifted. So right now, you have 4 hours ago. This is how this is shaping up, according to the Guardian. So you now your oil jumps and stock futures are jumping. So basically, Asia's going to be in for a ride. It was already 286, and I believe um Sri Lanka and 210 in Singapore. So that was last Friday. I can only imagine that probably the spot price, which is the current price, probably somewhere over 300. The markets are now cooking off. It's a global cook off. It will hit us. It will hit the US. It's just how it hits the US, how soon. That is, I would say, think about, for those that remember, in 2020, March of 2020, March of 2020, you had the US saying, "Oh, you know what? We're not going to shut down for the pandemic, and nothing's going to be going on, and all this other stuff." And then March 20th, I remember this. I remember I was on active duty at that time, and as soon as my kids had gone on spring break, I get an email, and it was literally just an email. And then it was a phone call over the weekend. Don't come back into work until further notice. Only emergency essential personnel will come back, and they have been notified. That was March of 2020. I didn't go back into work until May of 2020. I had worked a total of 2 weeks before I came off of active duty in July of 2020. We worked the 1 week on, 1 week off. So going back into this timeline, because understand it's going to take a little bit of time. All right, so let's take a look here. Let's go back to here. JD Vance is not going to Islamabad, Trump says. Okay. Iran Foreign Ministry, U.S. blockade violates ceasefire and amounts to war crime, which is why I believe that they were, when the story of Times of India, how it was saying that Iran would not be fulfilling shipping requests to China. And I believe that the intelligence was already, probably more than likely, coming through, that they're getting ready to, the U.S. is getting ready to retaliate. We'll skip that. 9 hours. White House says Vance actually is going to Islamabad. 6 hours ago, Iran rejects U.S. peace talks, Iranian media reports. Obviously, that was the case because then 4 hours ago, U.S. Marines took custody of an Iranian flagged vessel, Trump says. And then 1 hour ago, Iran accuses U.S. of violating ceasefire and vows to retaliate. And then 46 minutes ago, so we're really in a critical hour, because right now things can escalate a lot. You have to also understand that Iran is still very decentralized, even with the new Ayatollah. You have to understand these units had been given the carte blanche. The Iranian proxies have been given a carte blanche. Hey, if anything pops off, then they can go. You have to realize there's a lot of things that go on the sea. For those that have been beforehand studying a lot of maritime traffic along the Arabian Sea. The maritime traffic that is there comprises of small ships called dhows and other frigates that are all around either minding their own business, trying to make money, trying to survive as fishermen, or they're there as an intricate Iranian spy network slash Houthi network, and they are then plotting targets with their viewfinders and their binoculars, and they are radioing or communicating somehow through either satellite communications or other advanced forms of communication that is then signaling where these ships are located. And what generally happens is that once you have a satellite image, a satellite location, well, here's the reality. Iran's not stupid. Iran is utilizing satellite systems from both Russia and China, and probably some other, I would say, commercial imagery that is probably non-US based, i.e., you don't know what else could be on out there that they haven't used. In this run up, it had already been said a couple of days ago, I think about 3, 4 days ago, that Iran was using Chinese based satellite imagery. So, for satellites, depending on how many satellites have been launched, depending on what satellites are on out there, depending on the flyover time, their time that they're nadir or their view or an image of a certain location, it can go for a number of hours. And depending on what data is collected, they would collect the data. That data would then get downloaded, and more than likely, it would be shared. And depending on the amount of cooperation, it would be shared, whether it's 2 hours, 3 hours, 6 hours, 12 hours. They could see if there is a pattern of loitering. They could see if there is a pattern of, communications being shut off. They could then see what type of communications were being used before the vessel had began to either stay off course, stop, or make some sort of other bearing that was not indicative of their bearings in the previous imagery. So these are a lot of the conditions that this is what they're doing. This is what their intelligence analysts are doing. So then they can have the operational space to, more than likely, they're going to fire on someone. And when they fire on someone, they're going to do it in a condition to where there will be imagery that shows more than likely a U.S. strategic vessel, asset, aircraft carrier, you name it, that would then be captured and then be released. As another propaganda element. Because now you could actually plausible deniability. Hey, China has an interest in the area. Chinese ships have an interest. Chinese ships actually have a base. Oh, yeah. What people don't realize is that China has a huge naval base right south of the, well, right, I would say west of the Gulf of Aden, Gulf of Aden, right there in Djibouti. And you have the Arabian Sea. Then once it kind of opens up at that Horn of Africa there in Somalia, that's the Gulf of Aden, Gulf of Aden. A body of water smack dab between Yemen and Somalia. Just to give you a little bit of a geographic lesson. And what China is doing, China has freedom of movement. China had contracted that base a while ago from the Djiboutian government. I think at least 10 years ago. Now, can people speculate and say that, China, Russia, India, or excuse me, Iran, and North Korea, could they have been planning this for years, even decades? Yeah, of course. Absolutely, of course. Because what is being played upon is the naivety, is the confusion, is the, I would honestly say, the lack of intellectual prowess that abides here in the United States because nobody wants to actually think about things unless it's spoon fed to them. Here is the truth. Have you noticed that everything that's easily said, especially to what Trump's base is digesting, those are the easiest, sweetest morsels of lies. Oh, it's gonna be big. Oh yeah, we're gonna do this. Yeah, I got a message. I got some good news. That's what he was saying on Friday. He got some good news. I got a message. I got really good news from Iran. I got a present. Because why? What is that supposed to do? It plays at the quality of the lack of actual psychological maturity. And then here's the funny thing about that on Friday when the reporter had asked, did Iran say that? And then he tried to sound real slick. Trump tried to sound real slick. Well, I think that that's what they want to have because I believe that that's what I would say, and I think that they would agree on what I would say. You know what that meant? Man, you lied. Stop lying. No, because I think that and everybody knows. And everybody, you know what that means when he said, now you can start to see. Now you start to see the patterns, the behaviors. What's the pattern? The pattern is the dude's a weekend warrior. What's the behavior? He's gonna be jolly and happy because he's gonna lie to you. Then what ends up happening? Then Iran comes through and says, no, that's not the case. And then he's gonna ignore it and he's gonna say, you all lied. No, this isn't dementia. I'm sorry to say this. This is when white supremacy goes bad. Excuse me. When white supremacy meets reality, I think that's actually the truth. Because as we had stated this a while ago, the only reason that white supremacy is the way it is because you've had to have willing participants participate in white supremacy. White supremacy is not a spectator sport. You have to have other nations participate in white supremacy, even if it's at their own peril, because what white supremacy will say is, hey, don't aren't we good? Aren't we great? And guess what? We'll give you a little taste of it. Why do you think they have Kash Patel as a quote unquote FBI director? That's your new token. We can't rely on these Negroes. They're not. Back in the day, they used to be reliable. Now they're not reliable. Now they've caught on and they're choosing to not participate anymore. That's a death sentence for white supremacy. Why is that? Because everything that we would do, we would give our blessing to allow them to do it. Yeah, we're at fault in this one. Don't think that we're not at fault. Well, then why did you allow that? Then why didn't you say anything? You can't say, I don't know, we're FBA. No, no. Because our silence had been consent. And now in this day and age, our silence isn't actually consent. It's actually we talk. We now said, hey, we're not going to be involved. We've told you our position and you're going to leave us alone. We've actually had an active passive defense. We're actively staying home. We're actively saying, no, we're not going to do it. Leave us alone. We're actually actively fighting back in a passive manner. Do you know that this has had profound repercussions? Oh my goodness. We didn't realize just how much power we had spiritually. That has ruined their whole day. That ruined their atmosphere. Well, aren't these Negroes supposed to, love this? And aren't they supposed to, help? And aren't they supposed to give us a song and dance and pat us on the back and say it's going to be good and we're gonna join hands? And we said no. We said we can join hands when you're giving us what's due to us. Reparations isn't going to cut it. They're already destroying this world. They're trying to destroy the system because why? Because they're trying to tell you that you're not going to have a dollar that's going to be worth anything in probably a year, if not sooner. This is called a bankruptcy action. This is called a dying kingdom. This is called everything that you want to call it, but you can't call it that it's going to be successful. And now that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get in as much resources that they can until the system completely breaks. And I know a lot of our people don't want this system to break because, well, I want to do this, I want to do that. I just want to, I love this system. Yeah, and instead of bankrupting, the a couple of countries, he was given a grand assignment. Cynthia says, yeah, DT is an expert at bankruptcies. Yeah, he was given the biggest bankruptcy assignment in history to cut up the hammer of the whole world. It's been cut asunder. No, that's not Pulp Fiction scripture. That's actually Jeremiah 50 and 51. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? But then we've been telling them, have you read the Bible? Have you read Jeremiah 30 through 33? I was talking to one of the teachers last week. I said, have you read Jeremiah 30 through 33 to understand who the actual people are? They're scattered to the four corners of this earth. The corners. We have been and we have seen our people all around the world in some sort of capacity of affliction, servitude, being at the bottom, no power in our hands. Even on the continent, they really don't have power in their hands. They know that. That's why they're screaming, they're pleading with us. I don't think people truly understood what that meant with President John Mahama of Ghana putting that on out there in the UN. Oh, he knows. He knows what that could do. Do you know that if this had been any other time, any other decade, what would have happened? In Burkina Faso, Traore would have just been a memory if this was even 10 years ago. He would have been wiped before you could even had spoken his name. Same with Mahama. Oh, you want to present that? Yeah, you're going to get deleted. Do you really want to know what that actually meant? That meant they were testing. They were seeing. Wait a second. Wait a second. I don't have a three-letter agency death squad coming for me. Wait a second. I don't have a sellout coming for me. Wait a second. I don't have something has changed. You all see what's happening. Things are changing. Things are responding in a different manner. It's responding in a way that I never would have had imagined. Ask me this 10, 15 years ago. I would have said, no, I don't. What? Huh? And now here we are all of a sudden. You now have market manipulation. I hope you all know this. This is what this article is covering here in The Guardian. Market manipulation. Well, Iran rejected the peace talks. I'm going to make you go to the peace talks. I'm going to have the Marines take custody so you can go, so you can play. in this continual game. So you can play in this vain imagination. That's what they're saying. If you don't play in this vain imagination, well, we can't really destroy you because we've been trying to, do this and do that. Oh boy. I have to show you this because this is literally the the pot calling. Well, I don't know what to think of this. Maybe Zoomer Doomer's on. This is probably middle of the night for Zoomer Doomer. He's one of the listeners in here in the chat, and he is over in UAE. Let me share this with you all. UAE asks US about a wartime financial lifeline. What? Heck to the no, 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 no. Emirati officials speak with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent about accessing dollars if Middle East conflict drags on. Heck to the no. I denounce that. I don't denounce it. I denounce that in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Nah, y'all learned about the DTs smash and grab. DT undercover. That's the DT smash and grab. You didn't know about that DT smash and grab? Ah, man, let me tell you something. All right, Arabs. All right, let me tell you something. Y'all Arabs listening to the chat, let me tell you something. Come here real close. Come here real close. Come here real close. I want to tell you. Now you know how it feels to be a black man. Dang! What are you telling me? That this isn't what was it? Red Summer? You telling me that this is Red Spring? Look, you go and you ask. I'm sorry, you if you ask any of them officials in DC for some money, you best to say, yeah, we need some money for for some black funds, for infrastructure development for black people. Because I'm gonna tell you that there's gonna be black folks. I guarantee there's gonna be some black folks that is going to be up in Mojtaba's X and Instagram and Telegram. I don't care what it is, what it takes. TikTok or WeChat. I don't care what it is. Hey, yo, Mojtaba. I'm just gonna call you Mudge. Yo, Mudge. You know how Mojtaba thing be messing us up. Yo, Mudge. Yo, who's that? That's Big Mudge. Let's stop the cap. We're just gonna call you Persian Meech. Yo, Persian Meech. I got them straights closed. Call him Persian Noriega. Blockade on my back. Donald Trump ain't gonna save you. Look, somebody in Iran better have that Lego video on blast talking about, look, you better pay some black people first before you even ask for a nary cent. Oh, see what y'all knew what happened. You didn't want to listen to the black man. And now you are trying to ask for funds from somebody that started a war in your neck of the woods and got you blown up. Man, y'all better sit your behinds back down in that camel hair tent. Roll on them pillows and bite them pillows and scream. Because Trump done got you messed up. UAE, you must not have read the files. Melania knows. Ha ha. Y'all need a bailout from Scott Bessent. He's going to say, okay, meet me on an island. Oh. The memorities are like, is this going to end well? No, it's not going to end well. Just ask R. Kelly's folks. Man, they gave me them girls, man. Oh. All right, UAE, how bad do you want these funds? They done did it to themselves. I'm sorry, they done did it to themselves. If you want to come to my island trying to ask for a bailout, then you know about this island. And then you about to find out that if you want to come to this island trying to ask for money, oh, man, it just gets better and better. I'm sorry. I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Yikes. Excuse me. What? I mean, look. Iran's trying to say, listen, Habibi. Habibi, it is not worth it, Habibi. Island, the island. the island for bailout. The island for bailout. The island. Meet me on my island. Now you think that you had it made. Couple bombs and you need to get paid. Them troops done got you messed up. On the island, I'm gonna get you fessed up. When you wanna talking to me, talking about bail up, need that money. Person tried to let you know, but this is what you're gonna be. A, a political high class. Oh, you know, the island. Man, brother's got some money problems, but I'm just saying. Father, I listen, Father, if I need to compromise myself, that means woo. I'm just saying. Everything's about to be exposed. And we were telling them this. United Arab Emirates, this is as of today, 7:38, not even 30 minutes ago. Emirati officials speak with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Well, we can facilitate a bailout because simply the U.S. has the monies that we need and we can print out as much as we want, but it's not about the money. It's about a couple different things, and this president has let the world know that if you need money from us, it's going to come with the cost. You're going to have to do some strange things for change. That's going to be the new Bond campaign slogan. Do some strange things for change. But I'm going to ask, I want to ask these Arab nations, is it worth it? Let me know where the lie is at. What do they say in Jeremiah 50 and 20? They'll be looking for what? For fault in Judah? They be looking for iniquity. Look, we ain't lying. We ain't lying. Yeah. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. This is first book of Pulp Fiction, chapter 3, act 2. In other words, Jeremiah 50 and 20. Let me just show you this scripture right here, cause I in those days and in that time said Yahuwah, the iniquity of Israel shall be sought for, and there shall be none in the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found, for I will pardon them whom I reserve. Oh boy. We were the criminals. While these folks are stealing, they're just doing international piracy. I don't think that Iran is going to take the bait that it had once done. I don't think that the world is even the world is just now like, all right, they're just gonna be fighting. Ooh, mama, they fighting. A lot of America double talk. This from Sister Bonnie. A lot of America double talk. Hope UAE. Good. I think I don't know. Sister Bonnie, this is so ignorant. This is so ignorant, Sister Bonnie. Hope UAE. I'm gonna say. I think she said good at holding their breath on getting that bailout. Oh my goodness, Sister Bonnie. We'll be praying for you, Sister. So when you come to the island, we're gonna get, you're gonna be doing some things. Yikes! I don't know what you're trying to say here, Sister Bonnie. Sister Bonnie. That is a double entendre meaning right there. Are you trying to say I hope they're holding their breath on getting the bailout? Or oh, look, don't be playing. Don't be playing. Trump said, all right, come on over here, get this bailout. I'm gonna have to baptize you though first. What type of baptism are we talking about here? Whatever baptism you talking about surely ain't biblical. Oh no. Nah, nah, I'm good. I'm good. We're laughing, but we done told you. Most High gets the last laugh on this one. You didn't think it was going to happen to you. All that money, all that power, wow. And the reason I'm laughing hard is because I've been to UAE a couple different times. And yeah, they had the air of, that they had it. They had it like that. They don't need to talk to you. You were just a peasant. And I'm laughing. I'm like, they know good and well that they are only in the position that they're only in because of the US at that time. That was in 2017 and 18. My have the mighty fallen. And don't get it twisted. This is indicative of the global economy not doing very well. They're not doing very well at all. So if this story is coming out, and I have to say this, even though it is funny, I do have to look at where this is on out. This is let me do this. This is from obviously this is the Wall Street Journal. This is the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal is it's a publication that is definitely Um, it's a fifth estate publication. So do not get that twisted. It's a fifth estate publication, meaning um, that they have an interest, financial interest in reporting U.S. based propaganda. U.S. based propaganda. So let me do this here. This is Al Jazeera, and I do like Al Jazeera much less propaganda. Again, this is Trump says U.S. sees Iranian ship trying to get past blockade near Hormuz. Iran vows retaliation, accuses U.S. of violating ceasefire after attack on cargo ship Toska. This was as of just by Al Jazeera staff. They don't even want to put their name because journalism is dangerous. It's dangerous. Pretty soon there's going to be to where getting on these YouTubes and getting on social media is going to be dangerous too. He added that the U.S. Navy stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room and that the U.S. Marines had custody of the vessel and we're seeing what's on board. We're seeing what's on board. Why is he saying that? Because that's a robbery. He's telling you this. Look, I'm trying to see the loot that I copped. What do we get? Man, President Donnie, you gonna like this. We got a gift from Iran. What did I get? Yeah. What did I get? What was I able to steal? It's all mine. Mine. It probably sounds like one of those little childish comic book characters. Yeah, I'm all right. Okay. Oh, did you get any gold? I like gold. I like money. I like gold. Oh, oil. Okay. Yeah. Well, the next ship you find, let's make sure it has gold on it. It's sad. I wish I was not lying. Excuse me. I wish I was telling. I wish I was joking. There's no lies on that one. Well, let me talk the first book of Hegseth. First book of Petty. Oh, okay. Mr. W3369 said they just said Iran struck an American ship. Oh boy. Here we go. So we'll see how this thing shapes up throughout the evening. But yeah, that's as I was letting you all know. There is a lot of there is a lot of news on out there. Excuse me. And I'm sorry, man. Give me just a second. Gosh, give me a second. Yeah, it has. The air quality down here in Florida has been terrible. There has been fires everywhere. So smoke and everything is it's crazy. I don't know what type of Amazon warehouses are being set on fire. I shouldn't say that, but man, these folks are going wild. Yeah, that look, instead of neo diplomacy, you're right, Pastor Rick Fletcher. He said, I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. Trump on that gangster diplomacy. Gangster diplomacy was offered at Trump U. That's why they had to shut Trump U down. I'll give you a course on international diplomacy. All you need to know for international diplomacy is how to put your finger on the trigger. It'll be great. It'll be great. Oh, terrible. So yeah, we're gonna see how things are going to look because yeah, over the last 24 hours, it has been really crazy. But again, as I had stated, it's the weekend warrior profile. This is all this is. It's a weekend warrior profile. So we'll see. It said Iran against U.S. Oh, okay. All right. So let me do this. This is from Nexus. This is on X. It says, according to Iran state affiliated outlet Tasnim, Iran has retaliated for the attack on its cargo ship by targeting certain U.S. military vessels with drones. Oh boy. Didn't we just say that? Wait. Didn't we just say that? This was an hour ago. Didn't we just say that? Iran said, respect my gangster. They got a real one. They got a real one. Let me tell you when you knew that they had messed up. When I told you that said Iran got they don't messed up. It's a real one. This is fair use. Fair use. Hey, drop that beat.
April 16th. 2026, the Pentagon held a worship service. Defense Secretary Pete
West Coast in the house.
asked the room to pray with him. He recited what he called CSR.
This is Covenant Awakenings. Covenant Awakenings.
A prayer he said was used by the Sandy One Combat Search and Rescue Team before a mission in Iran.
Hey, Gar, put that track on.
Recognized it immediately. It was nearly word for word from Quentin Tarantino's 1994.
It's your boy, Covenant Awakenings.
Here's what happened.
Hexer said, pray with me at the Pentagon podium.
Then recited Pulp Fiction.
Like nobody would notice it. Samuel Jackson said it first in 1994.
94.
Now the Secretary of War
is reading it
at a prayer on the floor.
April 16th at the Pentagon, a worship service took place. Defense Secretary.
Yeah. Get that track going. Get that track going.
Prayer space. He said the Sandy One rescue team recited this before
it's Covenant Awakenings.
A prayer called CSR 2517. That was his admission. He said, I think it's meant to reflect Ezekiel 25:17. Then he asked the room to bow their heads and pray with him clean.
We got another one.
The down deviator is beset on all sides by the inequities of the selfish. That's how the prayer rise. Blessed is he who in the name of camaraderie and duty shepherds the lost through the valley of darkness. Said it smoothly, for he is truly his brother's keeper.
Dropping bars. Dropping bars.
Then he finished with great vengeance and furious anger. The room was listening. And you will know my call sign is Sandy One. He declared, when I lay my vengeance upon thee, and the whole room stared.
They're lighting it up over here. Let them cook. Let them cook.
Reporting that prayer was nearly word for word the Pulp Fiction monologue recording. Samuel Jackson's character Jules Winfield said those lines in Quentin Tarantino's 1994 film, one of cinema's most iconic signs. The original movie version says the path of the righteous man. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill. That's the Tarantino plan. Shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. The movie goes on, and you wouldn't.
Yeah, this is hot. This is hot right now. We're on Covenant Awakenings.
The actual Ezekiel 25:17 in the Bible is one line only.
Yo, put me on my headphones.
And
put me
I will
on.
execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes. Short and lonely. Everything else was written for the film, not scripture at all. Tarantino actually lifted it from a 1973 Japanese martial arts film called Bodyguard Kiba Standing Tall.
Said, pray with me at the Pentagon podium.
Then recited Pulp Fiction.
Like nobody would notice it.
Oh, Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson said it first in 1994.
1994.
Now the Secretary of War
is reading it
at a prayer on the floor.
Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell responded on the platform X the next day. Said the secretary shared a custom prayer used by
Samuel Jackson said it first.
He said it was obviously inspired by dialogue in Pulp Fiction, but both the prayer and the movie were reflections of the verse. That's the Pentagon's position. Parnell added, anyone saying Hex had misquoted Ezekiel is peddling fake news and ignorant of reality. That was the Pentagon's official views. The story went viral on Reddit with over 22,000 upvotes overnight. Users ask, quote, this is satire, isn't it? They couldn't believe the sight. Stephen Colbert played the Hexa footage on his late night show, then cut to Samuel Jackson saying the same lines, word for word, blow by blow. He said Heggs is quoting from the Gospel of Quentin Tarantino. California Governor Gavin Newsom added it a Pulp Fiction poster for the mean flow. Al Jazeera covered it, Euronews covered it, international press took the stage. Reverend Al Sharpton called it an embarrassment on the national page. The moment came the same day House Democrats filed impeachment articles against Hegseth over the conduct of the war.
You're in the studio. You're rocking live with Covenant Awakenings.
Christian worship services at the Pentagon since taking office. Church and state separation advocates have criticized the practice from the orifice. In the previous March 25th prayer service, Hegseth had prayed for, quote, every round to find its mark against enemies of righteousness. That's what he wrote. Even Steve Bannon advised Hegseth to tone down the religious references at brief. briefings, saying they distract from the operational details that military leaders are delivering. The CSR prayer was reportedly recited before the rescue of call sign Dude 44 Alpha. A U.S. Air Force pilot shot down over Iran. The rescue mission made it chapter. To be fair, Haggerty did frame it as a military team's custom prayer tradition, not as a direct Bible reading.
Oh, there's a beat on that one, man.
Rendition, but reciting it at a formal Pentagon worship service, asking people to pray is what made the Pope fiction. Origin land, the way it landed that day. Texas said, pray with me at the Pentagon podium. Yeah, then recited Pope fiction. Like nobody would notice it. Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson said it first in 1994. No. Now the Secretary of War is reading at a prayer on the floor.
Oh man, I'm sorry. That was a banger. Usually, didn't really have like good flow context and things of that nature. They did on that one. I said, "Oh my goodness." That was a little bit like a little 1990s jam on that one. Yeah. And listen, and you heard zero curse words. Zero curse words. Man, why can't we rap like that anymore? And they actually threw in scripture. I mean the real scripture, not the Hexad one. Do you think Iran knows who their audience is? Because once you're able to get that beat, listen. On this one, when I looked at this, when I was looking at this earlier, I said, let me see who's commenting. 80% of the folks, the comments in there, you could tell that they were it was coming from black folks. Like, this is a banger. This beat's on fire. Nah, this is a hit right here. They know who the target audience is. Now, I'm not gonna lie. Look, a lot of that keyboard play in there, it was wow. So, but you have to remember, who are they trying to do? What is this ultimate propaganda for, and why is that? Because here's the thing. Some YNs, the young Netherlands, the young Dutch. No, they know who the actual reverberators, the talking piece reverberators. And if we're saying this, then they're listening. Oh, trust me, they're out here, they're listening too. So I'm telling you, this is something. If you understand the psychological impact of war, think of what that's doing. Think of what they're actually sailors trying to sabotage the aircraft, the U.S. aircraft. They don't want to go to war. It said, do you think Iran is using a black person to do their Lego? No, they ain't. No, they're not. Man, that is an AI digital black Snoop Dogg. Dr. Dre. I had one that was like a Tupac. That one was actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, that one was actually really good. But yeah, no, they Iran is getting them. Iran is getting them. Truth is, y'all, thank you for the super sticker. Sister Betty, thank you for the super chat. Hallelujah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can hear the Ice Cube. They try to make it like almost, it was West Coast rap. They knew the flow on West Coast rap. they, they, they got some Iranian B-Rads. They got some Iranian uh Persia's most wanted. when you see uh 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 Iranian protests against the United States and China produced Cortezes, Nike Cortezes with some beige and tan Dickies with black flannels, button at the top, and Ray-Bans. Talking about, you know what happened when you're up on our turf. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Oh, you don't mess up, Holmes. You on that 3551 block, Holmes. What's 3551? 35-degree longitude, 51-degree latitude, Holmes. You don't mess up. Oh, the moment that you see them doing some crip walking and popping locking, that is not Lego. You're gonna have a whole bunch of black folks' attention. Wait a second. Wait, they do that there? Oh. See Iran's strategy is actually kind of smart. They can't really do anything with East Coast rap. Not yet. Not yet. That has some interesting undertones. I mean, maybe that's what I was saying. I said maybe they'll come up with a biggie. They'll come up with a biggie, maybe a 50 Cent. I think they'll probably do a 50 Cent. They're gonna have a. I guarantee you they're gonna have a Moshtaba and IRGC unit. IRGC unit. This is how we do. We close it straight when you see it. We up in the club. Oil. Oh my goodness. The propaganda, the retaliations, and I'm gonna be on in about 10 hours. So I gotta get me some rest. I gotta get some things together, and then I gotta see what has transpired over the next 10 hours. Excuse me, because believe it or not, the next 10 hours is actually the daytime in Iran. So our night is what has happened during their day. Kind of crazy, isn't it? But I do want to say, with all the laughing and things of that nature, we need to pray for our brothers and sisters on over there that's in the military, because I can probably, you could tell and you could ascertain this when you had a lot of people graduating, at least between 2021 and 2024. um they weren't thinking that they would be in a conflict like this. And let me tell you, when things do go down, and excuse me, and the reason I'm keeping track of this time, like, we're at day 51. We're in a downhill battle. I want to say we, but you understand, the war, there's a 90-day authorization. They get 90 days. And then afterwards, which I have is a strong inclination, which when the 90 days does hit, it will hit late May, early June. I think they said like 90 to 120 days, or excuse me, 60 to 90 days. They'll do like a little small, well, this gives us time to wrap on up. So we gave 30 days to wrap everything up, because it's all about wrapping things up so the funding can be there to wrap things up. That's what they're going to say. Well, there's more stuff going on. The region is very destabilized, so we're going to need another 60 days, and then another 90, and then another. Do you see how that goes? So this is a forever war, because, again, the reality is, as this war, all right, and I think a lot of people know this. They can't get out of this war, because if not if, but when they do, when this war is, and somebody has to sign on the line of the armistice, of the treaty, of the declaration, those signatures will come with some sort of declarations, more than likely from the US side of the house, that will say, because of this, because of that, you're going to start to see states declaring independence. areas, regions of the United States declaring independence. It's all fun and games, but I mean, we know what the scripture says. We do. We understand what the scripture says. And a lot of people, they may have thought that, it could never have happened. We weren't caught off guard. We were seeing this. We were seeing the slow motion train wreck coming. How many years were we looking at the slow motion train wreck for? Like the last 3 years, it was like, man, this is going to get really nasty. And then the train wreck occurred on February 28th, 2026, while we were sleeping. And now, 52 days later and counting, tomorrow will be 53. Or excuse me, tomorrow will be 52. I was telling people, I said, listen, I always like to do a lot of speculating. So it is a balkanized. They say Balkan, the BALK Balkan, BALKANAZITION, balkanization, or NI. Man, I'm tired. I'm sorry. my, my spelling is interesting. So it's what Charles said, except it's BALK instead of the VULC. It's BUL or BALK. That's the best way to phonetically spell that. And all that is that is the Balkans when you had the Balkan War. The Balkans are the states, which are your traditional Greek states that had come together, minus Greece, that had formed the Yugoslavia. Inside Yugoslavia, you had countries like Macedonia, North Macedonia. You had Bulgaria, um, Albania, Czech Republic. What else? Bosnia and Herzegovina, and a couple of other smaller countries. Yeah, Montenegro. I think Montenegro, they called that Northern Macedonia. Just recently, I think it changed like 2 or 3 years ago. So that ended up happening because they had a dictator that came to power. The dictator destroyed everything in order for so what ended up happening, it's probably going to do the same type of thing. It's going to be, hey, what type of an American are you? You have this, you have that. Hey, if you're from Florida, then everybody's Spanish and or Cuban, and they can't decide or discern who you are. So everybody is a this or that. In the Southwest, everybody's an illegal. It's going to get real stupid. That's why I'm not. When people say, "Well, aren't you afraid of Iran?" No, not really. They don't have to fire a shot. That's actually what they're doing. That is their game plan, or their game plan. Um, with things, that's their game plan. Better to cut off resources. Better to have the internalized struggles, because why? Because They never did what they needed to do and provide a repair. So now here it is. Now you're starting to see you may fly out of here and flights may not come back to the United States. It may be one-way flights. Where are you going to get more planes at? Will more planes even come back? Will they circulate back to the United States? Especially as jet fuel is about to be very scarce in the next 10 days. Brother Asaf can tell you, Brother Asaf and I were talking the other day. You now have Lufthansa. Lufthansa is a pretty, it's not a shabby airlines, Lufthansa. And they're talking about cutting flights just within Europe. That's not just Europe. That's going to be the US, that's going to be Africa, that's going to be Asia. If you don't have flights, you're not going to have transcontinental commerce or trade. So this thing totally destroyed trade. Yeah, one way. Yeah, one way. They don't know what that would be coming back if you have any flights coming back. Shoot, you may have to get a flight out of Cuba, out of Havana. You may have to get a flight out. Well, I don't know. As I was saying, I still believe, as I've been saying this, I still believe the calculus was always probably more than likely an international intervention headed up by the UN. Why? Because they're about to destroy NATO. Matter of fact, NATO's already been destroyed. They just don't want to tell you that NATO's already gone. You have that Mark Rutte person acting like everything is still together. No, they just have him as a European clown. He's a European puppet that's trying to front for an American organization like it's still intact. That sucker's in tatters. I say this. I would not be surprised. April 19th. I give it to about May 31st. May 31st, you're going to have a declaration of folks falling out of NATO. They're done. If not sooner. I'm going to say if not sooner. Because you want to know why? Because what Iran is doing is they're putting the screws on the whole world to do something about the United States. That's it. Iran learned from the United States. Okay, I'm going to beat you at your own game. I'm not going to hit you. I'm going to have everyone else hit you. I'm going to have folks say that you're the problem because now you're the one that's doing these blockades. Hey, you're mad about the blockade. How do we get to the blockade to begin with? And those that are still singing the tune of the United States, guess what? They're going to be hurting and hurting and hurting until they say, yeah, we got to do something about the U.S. Oh, isn't that exactly what they did with sanctions? I told you that. Keep playing around with the sanctions, and then they're going to play the sanctions game, and it's not going to be very fun. Oh, boy, look at what happened in less than 10 years. Somebody figured out the sanctions game, and now it's not fun anymore. You better come to the table. We're going to take out this. Okay, go ahead. The reality is, they, in terms of Iran, hasn't given you and shown you all of their full complements of missiles. Do they have technology there? Absolutely. They probably already have the technology shared. They're just not allowed to use it. It's a gradual buildup. Okay, well, when you hit this, when they hit this, they have to hit gates. There are geopolitical gates that they have to hit. You just don't go on out there and say, "Oh, I'm just going to shoot everything." Shoot. No, you're going to have a bad reaction. You will be negatively viewed. You will be negatively looked at. So what are you going to do? You are then going to have the U.S. do what the U.S. does best. They're panicking. Yeah, yeah, brother Todd. It says not sure if the UN requires a quorum to meet so they have the UN Security Council, but here's the reality. When obviously there's issues with the people on the council, that's that goes into defunct. It's default. And what would then happen is you would have a declaration of the UN. So they won't, and here's the thing, they won't declare it as a war. Do you get what I'm telling you? It's kind of weird. It's interesting. They won't declare it as a war. They'll declare it as a peacekeeping intervention within the United States to control or to maintain and to provide global security. So think about that. I believe that that is the game that Iran is trying to play. Well, they won't call it a military operation. So, yeah, I understand what you're saying, brother Asaf. A special military operation, yes, but no. It is a special military operation. It is, but in the context of the UN does not have a technical standing army. And in lieu of the mission, because you won't have a NATO presence. What did you all see what happened in, I believe, in Iraq? I think it was last week, and it was so understated. It was incredible to see how understated it was. The NATO mission in Iraq had officially ended. I don't think people understood it. It was so under the radar, it wasn't even funny. It ended. They said it's suspended. No, it's not. It ended. Those are the other nations that said, forget y'all. I'm taking my toys. I'm going home. Why do you think they now have another confederacy without the United States? Because they know that the U.S. is a dying kingdom and they're just waiting on the U.S. to retaliate. That is a good question. David T. Cabrania 323 or 3231 says, where will the UN military staff be accomplished? Here's the funny thing. I believe, this is just me, you'll have a couple different places. You'll have New York. No, no, okay. I don't know if, yeah, yeah, you'll have New York, you'll have um probably in Canada, Ontario, or Toronto, excuse me, sometime probably just outside of Toronto. And you may have in Mexico. And yes, you could have LA. Absolutely. Those are your more, and the reason I say that is because those are your more, um, you have more of a left leaning, anti-socialist agenda, and that's what they would basically state. It's anti-socialist. They're trying to make sure that they're destroying the globe, or the economy, global economy, all that other good stuff. Well, yeah, let me, because Warrior of Yah 5106, it says, wow, no security in Iraq, for sure there will be problems there. No, no, not really, because you have to understand, um, the whole reality was, when people talk about ISIS wasn't like anything that just came about. That was a military operation. I think folks have have known that. I don't know if they did know it, or they don't truly understand how destabilization happens, especially in the Middle East. So no, with the US being gone, and the amount of operations, or the lack of operations, that is normally there, you don't have a logistics network. So effectively, what Iran has actually done, they actually crippled all of the US's, logistics networks, i.e., military materiel, equipment. And you could tell that because when you had, a couple weeks ago, the Sudanese were actually able to, take control of um, the rebel dissidents. And because why? Because they were being funded by UAE. So that's why, I was laughing, because they want to get a bailout. Well, for what? To what? To fund what's going on in Sudan? Because, the reality is that if you can keep African nations subdued, if you can keep African nations under threat, then you are able to control their resources. Now, this is the very first time that Africa is actually able to control their resources, and this is what has everything panicked. This is why Dangote refinery had, threats by the World Bank and the IMF, because they're they don't have the power anymore, because that oil flow is the power. And because they don't have the power, oh, all of a sudden we got to go after Dangote refinery, and Nigeria, and all that other blah blah blah. They're running scared. That's the retaliation of running scared. It's the same thing that you have in this administration. They're running scared, and everybody can see, and everybody can tell, and that is then hurting the position of the US, because now nobody wants to do business with the US. And not only does nobody want to do business with the US, they're trying to get their bonds out of, or their money out of the bonds, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So that's why, yeah, it wouldn't be a war like how people are saying. No, because you also have to think about it. They're already telling you how this thing is going to shape up. If you're not the 1%, if you're not in whatever districts or areas or things of that nature, um, there's going to be food scarcity. How long do you think that's going to last? They've already shown you that. They're already approving all this other crazy toxins to go into our food. They've been doing that last week. We don't know what's in our food. We don't know what the plan is to get us to that deletion point. No, it's not going to happen. Okay, check your news. It's only those that say it's not going to happen that don't want to actually look at reality. And then when reality comes up and it's in the form of something else crazy going on, some militia that has formed. Oh boy. So yeah, these we're in some very interesting times, family. And yes, I need to get up on out of here because I'm hitting my sleep time. Hallelujah. Yeah, the food isn't going to leave you satiated because it has zero or it has less nutrients because it's that lab grown, everything lab grown. Gas is going to go up tomorrow because the show of geopolitical theater didn't happen. So that's gonna really weigh heavily on the markets. You all have to understand every day, and they're not going to tell you this because they show it on a quarterly basis. Every day they're trying to pump as much as they can out of the strategic petroleum reserve here in the United States. That's why I said, look, there we'll see what's going on, but we're in that we're in this. Yeah, watery gas. It's starting to get kind of crazy. So they're purportedly, I'd say purportedly. So I don't know. We'll see what other distractions they'll come up with. We'll see when the UFOs land. I mean, fallen angels. I think that's at the very end is when you get the fallen angels, and then uh, Trump was getting them ready. Trump was getting them ready last week. Y'all didn't know. Y'all didn't understand the big play that he was doing. All right. Yeah, disclosure day is coming. All right. Well, thank you, family, for your support, and I appreciate it. Most time willing, I'll be back on tomorrow with a couple hours of sleep. Look, be not dismayed. Don't be discouraged. Matter of fact, be encouraged because listen, our redemption is coming. We may feel the pressure. We're all feeling the pressure. But let me tell you this. Have we felt this pressure before? Yes, we have. Get out of here. We all have. And that's why I said, listen, imagine how awesome it is to see the Most High as He's blessing us, as His eyes and His face is upon us. We're being sustained not by ourselves, but by Him. That's the truth. Not the God lovest thou that has plenties of money because the money will allow for the booze and the booze will allow for the inhibition that you can essay women and have all sorts of lewd interactions because that's in first Pulp Fiction, third act, fifth chapter. No. The vain imaginations of men are failing. And the vain imaginations of this society, of this captivity, let's face it, the vain imaginations of this captivity is failing in front of their eyes. So, Babylon is dying. You're seeing a very, very violent, dramatic, and violent death. And here we are. That's all I got to say. Hallelujah. So, with that said, family, let me get up on out of here. You all be blessed, and I'll see you all in a little bit. All right. With that said, family, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.